Multiversus Season 4 is undoubtedly the most important season in this game's history and for its future. Well, why is that, some of you might want to ask? Well, it's because Multiverses have been under a lot of scrutiny as of late, and there's a lot of topics that get brought up, and rightfully so. Some of these topics have very, very valid points. For example, the Steam chart numbers always get brought up, and it's like, hey, look, Steam chart numbers, player count has been declining. That in itself is a valid reason to bring up a topic for a discussion point. But if somebody just says, hey, player count numbers are decreasing on Steam, that means the game's dead. No, you're completely leaving out console players, which is where a majority of players actually play Multiverses. It's on console, by the way. But again, Steam chart numbers are a valid reason to bring up for a talking point. And then, of course, you also have the character balance issues that are not being addressed properly. And I could certainly agree with quite a few points that get brought up. For example, the same few characters always seem to be at the very top of the tier list. And any nerfs that they do get are kind of minuscule, or it's like, that didn't change anything, and the character's still really good. So, for example, for balance changes, when we get nerfs to characters like, hey, we're going to add one additional frame of startup or end lag. I'd love less focus on stuff like that. If there's a move that's too OP, that does too much damage, that's too good at comboing into several other attacks, maybe there's different ways to nerf the attack. Maybe you give it a cooldown of some effect. I don't know. And then you gotta insert a different attack, or maybe you just don't have an attack available anymore, whatever that might be, but a cooldown could be an option. You could also look at just adjusting knockback angles. That way one move doesn't combo into 3, 4, 5 other moves, and that one character is just constantly strong, and their one move feels like it's the ultimate tool where it just super overpowered and it just beats out any other attack. So there's different ways to kind of, adjust things, and I hope less focus on 1 or 2 additional frames of startup or end leg. That's maybe not the best place to look at things. And then, of course, one of the newest things that have been, well, I say new, but it's been around for a few months at least, but character inclusions, especially characters that are not being asked for. And this can be vital if we're getting characters, and this is just what I see online, these are not my personal opinions, I want to make that clear, but if we get characters like Nubia and Beetlejuice, and it's like, we're not asking for these characters, but we've been asking for characters like Ben 10 and Daffy Duck since, well, Multiversus first was revealed back in, 2021? That's almost 3 years ago now that I think about it. But again, if players are constantly seeing these new characters come to the game, that's good, but if it's characters nobody's asking for, well, we're going to start losing a little bit of faith in seeing who we actually want on the roster. So, think of it like this. New characters are what's going to draw people's attention. Look at character reveals for any game. Smash, Multiversus, Raven trailer did tremendous numbers. It was on the trending page for YouTube for a day or two. People view this stuff, and that's what, it will draw their attention, and it can make them, ultimately go, hey, there's a cool character that I like. I might give Multiversus a chance because it's free. So why not re-download it or download it for the first time? But my point being, if we get more characters that are requested, it creates a more positive environment, and all sorts of good vibes start coming out from that, right? So in turn, it can make outside players see this group of players going, hey, we're having fun with Ben 10 and Daffy Duck. Outside players will go, they're having fun over there. I want to have fun too. And then they might be a little bit more inclined to download or re-download the game and give it a try. Now, the reason that I actually made this video, and I'm sure most of you have heard about this by now, but IGN posted an article, and they didn't even post the entire thing, by the way, which was really funny. Actually, it's not. It's IGN, so you kind of expect that from them. But there's an article that IGN posted about Multiverses where it's pretty much a doom and gloom article. Multiverses is doomed, and they're terrible, and they cost WBD all this sorts of money, which is true, but it kind of created this everlasting rain cloud that has just been hanging over the community since the article got published. And what really sucks about it is this was the exact same time that Multiversus announced Season 4, which is a very crucial turning point for this game's future, because we got a roadmap for one thing, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But what's funny about the IGN article, is that they didn't even post the entirety of the information or this interview or whatever it was. Like, for example, take a look at this. IGN left out some stuff that Warner had said in the article that Digital Trends noted in their article. So, despite the results, WBD doesn't seem to be letting up on Multiversus anytime soon because it falls into its focus on established IP. I mean, so, like, there's good news there. It's not like, oh, Multiversus cost WBD money, and IGN kind of made it seem like, all right, they're closing up shop, the game's going to be canceled any day now. And when you only create articles for negativity, because that's the only way you can get clicks, apparently, well, people are just going to read the headline and go, oh, that's negative. So my opinion is now just negativity. So when you leave out key important stuff, well, you know, you're going to misinform a lot of people. But enough about this negativity already. Let's switch over to a positive vibe now, shall we? So let's look at what is coming during Season 4, the big turning point, if you will. Well, let's start off with the roadmap that we got, which in of itself is a massive W because players have been asking for a roadmap for a long time. And now we're finally getting one. I'd like a longer roadmap for a couple seasons out, but you know what? I'm not going to be picky. I will take a roadmap for each season right at the beginning. Good enough for me for now, right? Good enough. But again, the roadmap tells us 2 new characters are coming, who, by the way, are highly requested characters. So that's like 8 mega thumbs up here, right? Highly requested characters are going to get more people talking and go, hey, yeah, I like what I'm seeing over there. Plus, they told us 2 new stages. There's a new game mode coming to the game, which is going to be great. Cannot wait to try arena mode myself. And then, of course, there's going to be what seems to be a simpler and more effective way to unlock all the fighters. So Season 4 has already put in place this tremendous foundation for its future to continue to build off of. So if we continue looking at other areas that Multiversus has already improved upon, like, for example, if you compare Multiversus, the relaunch back at the end of May of this year, to where it is right now, they're 2 entirely different games. 2 entirely different games. Like, for example, netcode improvements. Who remembers when the game first relaunched in, like, the first month and a half? The servers weren't the greatest, netcode wasn't great. Who remembers running around without being able to control your character? They just ran off stage, cost you a stock, cost you a second stock, and then you finally were able to regain control, and you're like, what's happening? I don't want to play this. So, netcode improvements, by the way. That was me knocking, by the way. Knock on wood, I don't want to jinx nothing, but I have not had those issues happen since they made those massive netcode improvements, which I believe was back in the beginning of Season 2 over the summer. So netcode improvements, massive for the game because, well, this is an online game and, well, I want things to go as smoothly as possible. How about one of the newest features they just recently added called Testing Ground? It is a literal feature for the future of the game. They're going to be testing all sorts of different things. Of course, they tested shields. And I'm not here to get into, does Multiversus need shields or did it not need shields? I'm not here to get into that. Have your own opinions. I could care less. If they have shields, I'll adapt. If they don't have shields, I'll adapt because not everything needs to be Smash Bros, right? But what I'm saying is Testing Grounds is shaping the future of the game. How many other games have this kind of feature? How many other games have this? Yeah, you name more than I just did. I bet you can't. How about this too? They just announced that Gleamium Wednesdays are now a thing. You just log in on a Wednesday and you get free Gleamium. Just go over to the shop, scroll down a little bit, click on the free Gleamium, and bam. Sure, maybe it's not like a crap ton of Gleamium, but like if a season is what, 8, well, this upcoming season's 10 weeks long, at what, 20 Gleamium per week? 20 times 100 is 20 million. That was bad math. That was a joke. But I'm just saying, free Gleamium every single week just for logging in? Like, how many other games do that? How many other games give you premium currency for simply logging in? I know there's a few that do it, but like, come on, this is a good change. Oh, let's not forget the constant communication from the community managers. For like Ajax, for example. Like, he's a dude that is in constant contact with us. He's always teasing, he's always joking, he's always interacting with us, gives us little hints, little riddles, little sneak peeks of upcoming changes to the game. Like, for example, look at this. Hitboxes are going to be addressed. Falling speed is getting some sort of change. I'll be curious to see how that plays. And of course, right there at the bottom, he tells us movement Movement, what are they doing to movement? I know a lot of people are hoping for an increase to movement speed to make the game a little bit faster. This game does not need to have the movement of the open beta. That was a little too kind of chaotic and kind of unfun. That's just my opinion. But maybe a bump in gameplay speed would be tremendous. We'll see if that is what it is, but that'll be in the Into the Verse stream that should be tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. But my point for all of this, Multiversus is not the perfect game. It never has been. It never will be. No game is ever going to be perfect. Never. But if Multiversus can keep improving on things the way that they already have for this, the half a year that it's been back? I guess it's been a little over a half a year, right? But if they could keep improving on things the way that they have so far in 2024, this game's future is so bright. I know there's people that got turned off by the game and they're like, it's not quite what I remember from the open beta, or it's not for me. That's fine. Maybe you didn't like it when it relaunched and you're like, oh, nope, not playing this. But I promise you, if you're watching this video and you haven't played Multiversus in 2, 3, 4, 5 months, whatever it is, re-download the game once Season 4 starts on Tuesday. Just try it out. I promise, it's an entirely different game. It is. Changes have been made in a positive way, but there's still other key areas that do need focus. Again, this game's not perfect. So if the devs can keep that in mind, keep the idea of, hey, we need to focus more on balancing issues. We need to focus more on hitbox adjustments. If they do that, which they seem to be starting to do, if they can do that, this game's future is bright and can thrive for many years to come.